Hi there guys, my name is Jacob and welcome back to the channel. Now if you have watched my last two videos, then you will already know that I have recently had a solar PV and battery system installed at my home. And in the comments, a lot of people were asking me to update them on, my generation numbers for the system. And as January has come to an end now, I do have the first 12 days worth of generation for my system. And that consists of the final 12 days of January. My system went live on around the 19th of January. So I have the data from the 19th to the 31st to share with you. Now, before I go through that data, I just want to say a huge thank you to, everyone who has been watching my videos lately. The last couple of videos have done really well on my channel. One of them is approaching 5,000 views. And, I know for a lot of channels, that isn't that many views. For my channel, that's huge. So I just want to say a huge thank you. And, feel free to keep watching, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. And also, there were a few people asking me how they can support the channel in other ways. And really, I only have a couple of ways that you can do that. Right now in the description box of this video, you'll see a link to Octopus Energy. That is just a referral link that if you use it to switch from whatever provider you're with currently, you will get £50 and I will also get £50. And that is paid to you as a credit on your energy bill when the switch completes. So if you'd like to support the channel that way, feel free to hit that link and switch to Octopus. Now, there is another way you can support the channel, and that is through a link in the description box again, which is called Buy Me a Coffee. And quite simply, it is just like a tips jar, and you can hit that link, buy me a coffee, as it says, and it is like leaving me a tip just to say thank you for making the video, and you can leave a comment with the tip as well, and just say, what you love about the channel, that type of thing, and I will respond to anybody who does that. So yeah, if you're one of those people that reached out to me to say, how can you support the channel, then those are the two ways that I currently have for you to do that. Right then, let's get into the numbers. So for the first 12 days that my system was live, and as I previously mentioned, that is from the 19th of January to the 31st of January, my solar PV system generated a total of 72.2 kilowatt hours worth of electricity. And, I thought those numbers were pretty good. From everything I read about solar systems in January, generation is supposed to be pretty low. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I was really happy with 72.2 kilowatt hours. That is what my system generated. Now, of that generation, 24.6 kilowatts were used whilst the panels were generating energy. I was using that energy in the house, whether that was working from home, whether that was having the dishwasher on, the washing machine, different things like that. I was soaking up that excess energy by using the energy at the time, and doing that, I used 24.6 kilowatts of that 72 kilowatt total. 30.3 kilowatts was sent directly to the battery to charge the battery. And unfortunately, 17.24 kilowatts was exported to the grid. And I say unfortunately because for me, that 17.2 kilowatts is lost energy. And the reason for that is I'm not currently getting paid for exporting to the grid. Now, I know in the future I will get paid, and I hope it will be at the 15 pence a kilowatt kind of rate. So if I do get paid in the future at that, which, I've put the application in and I'm waiting for, I think it's the National Grid to sort that out. Octopus have already been notified, so I'm just waiting for the National Grid to do their thing. So in the future, yes, I should be getting paid for that. But unfortunately, 17.2 kilowatts was lost to the grid out of my total generation. But you know what? It is what it is. It's early days, and I kind of expected this would happen, that there would be a period of time where I do just lose energy to the grid. But that's fine. Throughout those 12 days, there was a lot of trial and error with the system. Error on my part for a few things, but I'm learning how the system works. So I was, learning how to charge the battery and set up timed charges and timed discharges. I was setting up overnight slots so I can charge the battery in my cheap rate. I'm currently on Octopus Go, which means I can charge my battery for 8.5 pence a kilowatt overnight. I think it's from 12:30 till 5:30 in the morning. And I've got stats here. I actually pulled 38.73 kilowatts from the grid, and I did that overnight at the cost of 8.5 pence. And that cost me a grand total of £3.29 to do that. So an absolute bargain. Now, I also looked at my total consumption over those 12 days was 81.3 kilowatts. And if I was on my old standard tariff rate, which is around 25 pence a kilowatt, then that 81 kilowatts would have cost me roughly 20 to 21 pounds, somewhere in that region. But my overall bill for those 12 days was £3.29. That does exclude the standing charge. I think the standing charge was an extra £7 or something like that. But I'm just concentrating on what I actually used. So my total charge for the 12 days was £3.29. Had I been on my old tariff, it would have been roughly £21. So there is roughly a £17 saving in those 12 days, those first 12 days, which I am really happy with. But there was also some unexpected savings that I didn't really think about before I had this system. But to be honest, it should have been obvious. But on really sunny days, but where obviously we're in January, February now, and it's really cold, normally I would just have the gas central heating on. And obviously I have to pay for that just like anybody else does. However, now I've got the solar PV system on a really nice, day where blue skies, the sun might be out, but it's freezing cold still. I have started to use a different method to heat the house, and that is using electric heaters. Now, luckily I have a couple of electric heaters that I've had for a long time. They're quite high powered devices. They're about somewhere in the region of about 2 kilowatts. When you put them on full power to heat a room, they're about 2 kilowatts. So when I was back on the old tariff and I was paying kind of 25p a kilowatt, I would not use these electric heaters because quite simply they were too expensive to run. Well, they were in my mind anyway. So, they were away in a cupboard, or one was in the loft as well. But then I had this kind of thought come to me when on one day where it was freezing cold and the sun was out, we were generating so much that I simply couldn't soak it up. And it was on a day where we were sending a lot back to the grid. And I thought, why don't I put the electric heaters on instead of the gas central heating and soak up some of the excess generation through those heaters? And that is exactly what we've been doing lately. So on a beautiful sunny day like it is today, instead of having the central heating on whilst I'm working from home, I've been having electric heaters on, which is costing me absolutely nothing because the battery is full and the generation that I'm getting from the sun would just be going back to the grid. And as I mentioned earlier, it'd be going back to the grid for free. Obviously, when I get the export tariff set up, then it's different. But for now, I really want to concentrate on soaking up as much of that electricity as I can. And to do that, the best way I've found is putting my electric heaters on. So not only have I saved on my electric bills over the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I've actually started to eat into the gas bills as well. And that has been a really unexpected benefit. And I reckon I've probably saved at least kind of £10 to £15 worth of gas costs that, if I'd have had the central heating on, that's roughly what I probably would have spent. So really, in the first 2 or 3 weeks, I've saved the best part of, I don't know, let's say £30 to £35 worth of energy. And I have been absolutely loving it. I've got to say, having a solar PV system has really changed the way we use energy in the house. And partly because we don't have export set up, we have just got so much generation at the moment that quite honestly, we don't know what to do with it all. And like I said earlier, one of the ways we've been soaking it up is through electric heaters. But we really have not really been monitoring how much we use anymore because like I say, we have so much generation that we don't really need to be careful in terms of what we're using anymore. I always used to be so conscious about, you know, the electric bill and the gas bill. And, you know, trying not to let it mount up to stupid costs. But since we've had the solar PV system, those kind of worries and that kind of monitoring of how much we're using has kind of just gone out the window, because I don't need to worry about it anymore. You know, all the energy that we've pulled from the grid since we've had the system has been at the 8.5 pence per kilowatt rate, which is so incredibly cheap. You know, I used to be paying around the 24-25p a kilowatt. And yeah, at those rates, you really do watch what you're using. But, you know, as I said before, any generation we pull off the grid is at that cheap rate overnight, which goes into my 9.5 kilowatt battery. And the excess that we're getting in the day is either charging the battery up when we use some of that capacity, so it recharges it throughout the day, or we use it in the house, cooking, heating, different things like that. So there has been lots of extra benefits to having this system that, to be honest, I didn't know were benefits that I would have. And I've only realised since having the system. But, you know, I said in my last video, I only have good things to say about it. And we're about 3 weeks in now, and I still only have good things to say about my system. And I know a lot of you said about the last video that, you know, you thought it was great that I was so happy and excited about it. And that feeling has not gone away. If anything, it has, you know, it's got even better. And my wife has also become a complete convert to solar and the battery, and she's just loving it. Whereas before, to be quite honest, she wasn't that interested. This has been more of my kind of passion project to get this in and to see how it goes. And I was hoping along the way I would kind of get my wife on board. And she is well and truly on board, and I'm really happy to say that. But anyway, guys, this video has been long enough, so I will leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and the subscribe button. My channel has been doing really well lately with, you know, a lot of extra views, and a lot of you have been subscribing. So thank you for doing that. And as I said before, if you want to support the channel in other ways, down in the description box, you'll find a couple of links of how to do that. And guys, I'll leave it there. I will catch you in the next one.